Welcome back. Now that we've successfully logged on to a CPDLC session, let's take a look at the different types of messages we can expect to send and receive to air traffic control during the en route portion. Before we look at the different messages, let's learn about where our messages come from. Remember, FAA Data Comm is a subset of FANS, which stands for the Future Air Navigation System. Since FAA Data Comm is a subset, and we're only partially able to see into the future, our message set is limited. For a list of all applicable messages that are available for FAA Data Comm, visit l3harris.com and view their CPDLC message types page. We can expect to begin sending and receiving ATC CPDLC messages once we reach the en route coverage area. Remember to respond back to ATC in the same manner that they originally contacted you, meaning if they contact you via voice communications, it's expected that you respond back using voice communications. However, that does not mean you have to respond back in text every time. You can always push to talk if needed. It's important to keep in mind that all ATC messages require a response within 1 minute. Even if your response is standby, ATC is still awaiting a prompt response. Think about responses via CPDLC the same way you would respond using voice communications. If ATC is sending you an informational message, such as an altimeter setting, the responses will be either Roger or standby. If ATC is telling you to do something, such as changing a frequency, the responses will be either Wilco for yes or unable for no, or standby if you need more time. When you receive a CPDLC message from ATC, you'll hear an audible tone, as well as a flashing message icon on both your GTN and your TXI. To view the message, touch the flashing CPDLC icon on your GTN. Pending messages appear at the top, and a cyan border will display around unread messages. In our departure clearance from the last video, we were told to expect flight level 320 10 minutes after departure. So, no surprise to us, we see the CPDLC flashing icon in our GTN 10 minutes after taking off. Clicking on the icon will take you to the ATC data link page. From here, select the unread message at the top that says, "Climb to and maintain flight level 320. Now you're in the CPDLC message thread where you can decide how to respond. If you can implement this request, select Wilco. If you're unable to meet this request, select Unable. If you select Wilco, you're telling ATC that you'll comply with their request, and this response will close that message thread. We're now following our flight plan and maintaining flight level 320 as directed by ATC when we hear the audible CPDLC alert. We open the message and see we're being told to fly heading 015. We select Wilco to close the message thread and fly heading 015. After a few minutes of flying heading 015, we hear another CPDLC alert tone. We select the new message and see that now ATC wants us to proceed direct to Glazer when able and report back en route. We select Wilco and now a message window pops up that is asking us to select a message to arm or import. There are 2 different importable elements to this message, each needing to be properly implemented. First, let's arm the report back en route message by selecting that option. The GTN will ask you if you want to arm back en route message. Touch OK. Armed messages automatically prompt the pilot to send the message when applicable criteria are met. In this case, when we get within 1/2 mile of our route. To view and or send the message without the prompt, select Menu from the ATC data link page. Now that the message is armed, when we're able, let's go ahead and activate a direct to Glazer as directed by ATC. Once we activate our direct to Glazer, we'll get a CPDLC prompt saying Action Ready, alerting us to send our report back en route message. One of the most common CPDLC messages you'll see is a frequency change. Open the ATC data link page on your GTN and see the new message at the top with Needs Response in the left corner of the message box. Open the message. ATC is wanting us to contact Chicago Approach on 1190. Once we select Wilco, a load frequency window pops up, which allows us to select where we want the frequency loaded to. Now that we know what it looks like to receive a message from ATC, let's practice initiating a message. To send a message to ATC from the ATC data link page, select Create Message. Select the type of message you'd like to send and enter the applicable information. Let's practice requesting a descent down to 10,000 feet. Press Create Message.
Since this is a vertical request, select a vertical request, then request a descent to altitude. We'll be requesting a descent down to 10,000 feet, and for the reason, we will put due to weather. Once you've input the proper information, press Send. On the ATC Data Link page, you'll see your CPDLC message with Sent in the bottom left corner. ATC's response to your request will appear in the same message thread. Once ATC responds, you'll see the CPDLC flashing icon. When you're selecting a message to send to ATC, you'll see Emergency Messages at the bottom. However, why would you send a help text when it's easier to scream? Just push to talk. Since it's often faster and easier to declare an emergency over voice communications, do that if you can. However, if voice communications are not available, you can send an emergency message using CPDLC. If you wish to end your CPDLC session and use voice communications for the remainder of your flight, select the Log Off button on the ATC Data Link page. In many cases, ATC could log you off once you reach your destination, but always double-check that you've successfully ended the CPDLC session. Once your CPDLC session is complete and you've logged off, it's important to remember that you must wait 10 minutes to file a new flight plan.
Thanks for watching our FAA Data Comm video series. We hope you picked up a thing or two along the way. Now go show off those new skills, enjoy your time up in the sky, and may your flights be smooth and your coffee never spill.